Hey,
Welcome
everybody.
to
Hello and welcome to the Real Housewives of Alaska, the Biters.
And we are not doing anything zombie related this week because it's Shark Week!
And boy, do we have the movie for you.
So this week we are reviewing The Meg.
From 2018.
And you know, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I actually kind of liked it.
So I will say what I told you and what I actually put on Facebook, which is I have paid more for worse movies, and I have walked out Shallow Hal.
Oh, wow.
Oh, did not like that movie.
That's one of those movies that you go back and look and you're like, what were we thinking? Like,
Too many mean fat jokes.
So there's a couple of Friends episodes that have like really, really tasteless gay jokes in them, and I'm like, wow, that didn't stand up, did it?
It didn't wear well. Didn't age well.
Didn't age well.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no.
The Meg, though, we're only a year out from the Meg, so I would say it's aged fairly well.
I think so.
So what did you give it?
I gave it 4.2 anglerfish. So anglerfish are those ones, the bioluminescent fish that have the little lure in front of them to bring in their prey.
Very cool. I gave it 4.0 barefooted Jason Statham's out of 5. Because who dives into the ocean without flippers?
Right? Well, he is a very accomplished diver. So maybe he has webbed toes. We haven't seen them.
Like IRL or just in the movie?
In real life.
Really? Is he really?
Yes, he's a really accomplished. There's tons of movies where he does diving scenes.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Apparently, barefooted Jason Statham's are a thing.
See, and I preferred the bare-chested Jason Statham.
You're going to make me spew coffee out of my nose.
And that comment's not going to age well either.
All right. So, The Meg is loosely based on a novel by a guy named Steve Alten called The Meg, a novel of deep terror. Did you do a deep dive on Steve Alten?
I didn't, but I saw that this was the first book he ever published, and he sold it to Disney in, I think, 97 for $1 million.
And it, like, totally wasted away in the dungeons of Disney, and I think it was Warner Brothers who ended up with it.
Yeah, after it went through a couple of different studios.
Yeah.
But I have something about that a little later, so
Very good.
We'll get back to that.
So I have a few numbers. It has a 46% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that means it gets kind of mixed or average reviews, according to the review that I read.
Mm-hmm.
The budget was somewhere between $130 and $178 million. But its box office was $530.3 million, so they more than made their money back.
And they are making a part 2.
Yes, I saw that.
So we will get more Meg, and not the chick from Family Guy.
Although that was a very funny YouTube video.
I haven't watched it.
I have to post it to the page. It was pretty funny. Brian brought it to my attention today.
I'm not a big Family Guy fan as far as the show, but the movies were okay.
You know, it just kind of was after my time.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get into it.
Yeah.
I'm aging myself. Oh, speaking of aging myself, I will just share before we go on any further with The Meg. I will be probably podcasting with you in a drug-induced stupor sometime around the beginning of September.
Awesome.
I am so old that I am having elective hip surgery.
Oh my goodness.
I am that
So
old.
I am not old enough for hip surgery yet, but I had to buy one of those yoga foam rollers the other day
Mm-hmm.
because both of my hips are really bad. I thought maybe like bursitis or my sciatica or something like that.
Well, I think you should get an x-ray because I have basically human hip dysplasia.
Oh no.
Yes. So I suspect we probably got something cruddy in our genes.
It's because we've got thick thighs.
There you go. And thick
Yeah.
calves. Something has
Yeah.
to hold all that up.
Exactly. There's a lot of muscle pulling on our bones.
That's right.
So here's a tip. If you buy one of those foam rollers that either has the center that comes out that makes a smaller, softer foam roller or a hollow one, you can fit an entire bottle of wine inside the foam roller.
Oh my God. Lilith Hellfire, are you listening? Phil, if she's not, you have to share this tip with her.
It doesn't have to be wine either. It could be a bottle of vodka or
Oh my
whiskey,
God.
whatever your flavor is.
Too funny. I have something about whiskey in the Whisperer's Corner, so we'll head back to that.
Sweet.
All right, so The Meg was originally released in August of 2018, actually August 10th of 2018, and it was released in the US and China because it was a joint Chinese-American production.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually filmed in New Zealand and China.
Oh, I didn't catch any New Zealand, but
Thank you, Wikipedia.
I would have never known.
So they did confirm on Wikipedia that the Meg 2 is in development, and the update as of March of this year was that the script is in the works.
I actually will go see it. You know, I think we talked about it on our last podcast when we said we were going to do this. My friend recommended it to me because he went and saw it like on a date, and he just absolutely loved it. And we were like, no, we're not paying theater prices to go see a stupid Sharknado movie. And so we borrowed the DVD from him. You know, he loved it so much about the DVD. We borrowed the DVD from him, and lo and behold, it's a pretty good movie.
I don't know that I'm gonna go see it in the theater. I might watch it when it airs on Sci-Fi. But I will tell you, and this is getting into our writers. So the first person that I highlighted as our writer was actually the writer of the novel, Steve Alton. So there are like 4 or 5 books that are set in the Meg universe.
Right.
And there's actually a book that he's got called The Loch, which is about the Loch Ness Monster. And I thought, I might read that.
Ooh. Do you believe in the Loch Ness Monster?
Oh, no, I can honestly say I don't think that I do. I would love to believe in the Loch Ness Monster like Fox Mulder. I want to believe. I want to believe in the Sasquatch. I don't think that you can have things that leave that big a footprint, no pun intended, and not find some remnants of them when they die.
Yeah, I believe people were seeing something, but it was you know, they've talked about like I think sturgeon or something, or schools of sturgeon, or you know, other things. I think people really did some of the people. I would say some of the people did see something, but yeah, I don't think that there was some living fossil and just one of them like living in this lake.
Nonetheless, I may have to see what Steve Alton has to say about it.
Well, you know those the gigantic squid that was in the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Those are legit.
Like legitimately that big? I mean, I know giant squid are a real thing, but not that big.
They exaggerated the size of the megalodon, and I think they exaggerated the size of the squid.
I have more info about the megalodon. We'll get there.
But in Alaska, we have like either giant squid or giant squid tentacles wash up on the beaches all the time. And you see whales with the suction cup scars on them a lot. So those things get pretty big. That's
Okay, is
what
that seriously a thing? You're going to have to tag me
Oh,
in a picture.
I will totally find it.
I
Yeah, so gigantism in animals is actually kind of common in the sea, and they really don't know what causes it. Uh, but yeah, that's super scary. That's why I don't swim in water I can't see through.
I am right there with you. I am
Yeah.
not a big ocean swimmer. A little bit of snorkeling, I'm good with that. Scuba diving, no thank you.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm. Even in we have Auk Lake here in Juneau, and it's one of like the deepest lakes like in the US or the world or something. And there's parts of it that they consider it bottomless.
Yeah,
So,
I read
no
the
thanks.
Israel Keys story. I know what he did with those bodies that he threw in the lake. No, thank you.
Right? Yeah,
Right.
no thanks.
I will say before we move on to the other writers that Steve Alton is no slouch. So he has a bachelor's in PE, a master's degree in sports medicine, and he got his doctorate at Temple University.
That $1,000,000 went far for
So
him.
I think he did that well in advance of his $1,000,000.
Oh,
I think this guy is no slouch. So credit to him.
yeah.
Our screenplay was worked on by 3 different writers. Dean, I'm going to blow his last name, Jorgeras, John Hober, and Eric Hober, who are brothers. Dean worked on The Brave, which I've heard of, but I haven't watched. The version of Tristan and Isolde that had James Franco in it.
Didn't see it.
The reboot of The Manchurian Candidate that was put out in 2004.
I think I've caught some parts on cable.
And Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, Cradle of Life.
That was okay.
Yeah,
I didn't like the reboot of Lara Croft, but
I didn't see it. I've seen the Lara Croft movies that Angelina Jolie was in, but
yeah, those are pretty good. But the new one is, it's cheesy, campy without knowing it is.
oh, it's never good when it's cheesy, campy, and it doesn't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
You gotta acknowledge it and run with it.
Speaking of acknowledge, there's a ton of Jaws references in this movie. So if you want to know what a lot of them are, you can go to the trivia part of IMDb. It lists a whole bunch of them. And I like how they did a nod to the original shark movie.
I can be honest and say I didn't watch it with that critical an eye. I mean, certainly the fin going back and forth and the beach scene, but
Yeah, there's a ton of references that you would have to be a big fan to pick out. But I thought it was cool that they threw all those in there.
so funny story about Jaws. I was a little kid and our mother let me and our brother go see it. In the movie theater in Cleellum. I still remember this to this day. I don't know how little I was, but I was a little kid. Should have never been seeing that movie. When the divers rolled that head out of that sunken boat, I jumped up out of my chair and ran out of the theater onto the sidewalk and did not spill my soda or my popcorn.
Oh.
I was so terrified. I'm still traumatized by that.
So that's like any time I happen to be swimming in water I can't see through and something touches my foot. Right?
It's the head from the boat.
Yep.
Yep.
It's the shark. Like
Yes.
you immediately can walk on water and you run to shore.
Yes.
Yeah. No thanks.
All right, a little bit more about our brothers John and Eric Hober. They worked on Red 2, and they're working on a series that's from the movies as well, and that was a movie with Bruce Willis. The thing that I was really interested in that they have worked on is a movie that's coming out with Dave Bautista called My Spy.
Oh.
That looks really funny.
I love Dave Bautista. Follow him on
do
Twitter.
Too. Yes, he's awesome on Twitter.
Yeah.
If you're a lefty like us. Oh, and then our director, I'm probably going to blow his name too, but I'm going to try. John Turteltaub. He has 20 director credits. He also has producer and writer credits. People probably know him best for the National Treasure movies.
Oh, I like those. You know what? This kind of did have that little bit of
Yeah,
a
it kind
feel
of did.
to it.
That's true. Now that you
Yeah.
say that, I can see that.
Yeah.
So, three other movies that he was involved in that I wrote down because I really loved each of these movies in their own way. Phenomenon with John Travolta. While
That
you
was
were
good.
Yes. While You Were Sleeping, which is one of my all-time favorite movies with Sandra Bullock.
Mm-hmm.
We're a big Sandra Bullock household.
Yes.
And then Cool Runnings, which was the movie about the Jamaican dog sled, or not dog sled team, bobsled team. There actually is a Jamaican musher. That's who I wanted to bring up. So people, if you're interested in dog mushing at all, which is totally an Alaskan thing, there is a guy named Newton Marshall who is from Jamaica who came up here and ran the Iditarod not once, but a couple of times.
Wow.
And he is one of the nicest people I have ever met.
Do you know how he placed?
Oh, he was in the back of the pack, but I gotta tell you, having watched dog mushing for years, having done a little bit of dog mushing myself, I think you are a miracle if you make it to the starters line. I mean, it is a hard, grueling sport, and to qualify for the Iditarod, you actually have to do a couple of mid-distance races before you can qualify for Iditarod. It's expensive, it's exhausting, it takes everything.
I can't discipline dogs. Like, my dogs would just be willy-nilly running all over the place. Like, yeah, my dogs walk all over me.
Well, if you're a neophyte like me, you get a really experienced older lead dog from somebody who's retiring that dog from a competitive team.
Ah.
That's how you have them not completely run amok.
Adopt a dog.
Yes, adopt a dog, if not from Chernobyl, from Alaska. By the way, Annie got a home.
Oh, I did see that.
She has a sister named Ruby. They're enjoying each other very much. She has a young family that's very active, which is good. That's exactly what she needed. Not an elderly person who's fixing to have hip surgery. So...
Oh, that'll be interesting with your brood of dogs, having to not trip over them.
6 weeks on crutches.
Yeah. At least it's not snowing.
That's exactly why I'm doing it now.
Yeah. Having a leg injury in the wintertime in Alaska sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So one other thing our director was involved with, he directed a couple of episodes, but he produced the TV series Jericho.
Which I have heard about, but I have not watched.
Yes. So this was Skeet Ulrich. Do you remember that name?
Vaguely.
He was one of the bad guys in the Scream movie, the first Scream movie.
Oh, no, definitely not from that then.
Kind of looks like Johnny Depp. So it's basically, I can't remember how, like, all of our nuclear bombs go off or we get bombed or something like that. So we all, everyone goes back to living, like it's the 1900s or actually probably the 1800s. And it's set in a town that's kind of a farming town. And it's almost like Alexandria in Walking Dead.
Oh.
And I think I've told this story before. This was before we started change.org petitions for getting shows and stuff back, and before Netflix started picking them up. This was really before the internet. The internet was huge, 2006 to 2008. So it got one season and got canceled. And one of the last lines uttered, and I forget the famous person. It was quoting a famous person like Churchill or something. And Skeet Ulrich says, "Aw, nuts." And so the fans of Jericho started mailing nuts to the studio offices. And people started raising money to buy nuts in bulk to send to the studios. The studio relented and brought it back for one season to tie up the storyline.
Wow. That's power that even all of us Firefly fans didn't have.
Right? It's an amazing story, and the show is really, really good. I really loved it. So you can probably binge it in about a week or two if you're interested in watching it. It's a really good TV series. I don't know how you'd watch it though. I don't know if it's like Amazon Prime, Netflix. Oh, yep, it's Prime Video.
There you go. It's even free if you've got Prime.
Yep. So, well, we are on a hiatus from all of our Walking Deads and Preachers. You can binge Jericho.
And let us know what you think, because I'm probably not going to binge Jericho. I'm reading obsessively right now, so I'm not doing a lot of TV.
I always do a lot of TV.
I do want to say, before we get into featured cast, I have 3 recommendations. So 2 books. One is called Take Me With You, and the other one is called Where We Belong. And I'm going to look up the author's name real quick, because I'm totally turning this into my little recommendation corner. So one of my nurse practitioner instructors recommended this author to me because I was looking for something good to read. Her name is Catherine Ryan Hyde, and she wrote Take Me With You and Where We Belong. She's written several novels. I'm probably going to read more because I enjoyed them so much. If you are looking for something that is a little bit heartbreaking and a little bit heartwarming, I highly recommend both of those books.
Could you give us a quick synopsis of what they are?
So, Take Me With You is about a guy who is a science teacher who spends his summers traveling, and he has a very special purpose that I'm not going to ruin, trying to get to Yellowstone. And his RV breaks down, and he ends up kind of at the mercy of this guy who is fixing his RV, and he makes a deal that he will take this guy's kids for the summer.
Okay.
if the guy fixes his RV for free.
Huh.
And the relationship that develops between him and the kids is pretty phenomenal. Yes, I am not cold and dead inside. And then Where We Belong, which I'm just probably halfway through it now, is about a family that's a single mom and 2 girls, and the youngest girl is autistic, and she becomes obsessed with a neighbor's Great Dane.
Isn't this a true story?
No.
Okay.
The only time that she's calm, though, is when she thinks that she is going to see this dog or when she is in the presence of this dog.
Okay, I feel like I've read something similar.
If you liked The Man Called Ova, O-V-E, you'll like these books. Highly recommend. Okay, one more thing before we go to featured cast. New podcast. Did you see what I tagged you in?
I didn't. No, it's still reappropriation, and I actually, as an accountant, I worked till 10:30 last night.
Ugh, gross.
I know. It's almost like tax season for accountants.
Okay, so for the true crime junkies out there is a new podcast called Confronting O.J. Simpson.
What?
Guess who the host is?
The sister.
The sister of Ron Goldman.
Oh, I am so good.
It is so good.
But to be fair, I was thinking of Nicole Brown's sister.
Oh, no. It's Ron Goldman's sister. And in the first 2 episodes, she has already talked to one of the detectives who was really instrumental in the case. And she has talked to Marcia Clark, who is the prosecuting attorney in the case.
Oh. I love true crime. It's crazy.
It's really good.
Ugh.
So, those are the things from Recommendations Corner.
Excellent.
Now, onward to featured cast.
Our featured cast member was Ruby Rose. And the reason why I picked her is because she's amazing, of course, but she is also coming out as Batwoman in a new series.
So apparently, I was reading about her. She already has done crossovers on
Yes.
Arrow, Supergirl, and The Flash.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's in pre-production as a standalone series for her as Batwoman on the CW.
Yep. They released a kind of teaser trailer at Comic-Con.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't really give anything away, but it's a funny little video. She hasn't been acting for very long, and she has just blown up. Her first credit was a video short in 2011. She played Woman in Boys Like You. But then she got a reoccurring role on Orange is the New Black, and she's amazing. I haven't seen the last season. Don't spoil it.
So she's in seasons 3 and 4.
Yeah. And then here's an interesting thing. We're not doing anything zombie related this week, but she has been in the Resident Evil franchise.
Yes.
She was in the final chapter with another cast member of the Meg, Bing Lee.
Who I loved, by the way.
Yes.
I did want to say shout out to her and shout out to our reason for watching the Meg, Cliff Curtis. It was really nice to see both of them in this movie.
Yes, that's why we watched the movie.
Yes.
Have you seen any of the Pitch Perfect movies? I know that
I was a total Glee fan. I totally need to watch the Pitch Perfect movies. It just has never happened.
I had no idea there was a Pitch Perfect 3, but apparently she is in it.
She is also in John Wick 2.
Yes.
And she's also in one of the Triple X movies.
Oh. Yeah.
So
Return of
she's
Xander Cage.
Done quite a bit.
Yeah.
And she's gorgeous.
She was so awesome in John Wick 2.
Was she?
And
those are also movies that haven't crossed my radar. They should, but they haven't.
She played a deaf character.
Really?
Yes, a deaf or mute. She signed.
Interesting.
Yeah. She has some amazing ink.
65 tattoos, according to her IMDb page.
Oh, it's so awesome.
She actually said that now they just kind of blur into each other so she can say that she's got 2 or 3 tattoos.
They're all just connected now.
Which, by the way, another product placement. We should get paid for this. If any of you out there have tats, look for the product ink that David Lee Roth was involved in inventing, because it seriously gives new life to old tattoos.
David Lee Roth. I have not heard that name in a long time.
Seriously, man, they are hailing him as the Estee Lauder of tattoos.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
We should send a jar to Ruby Rose.
We should send a jar to Thomas O'Mara.
I know, right?
Yeah, we need to preserve those works of art.
I told him that he had a little bit more landscape than I do in terms of tattoos, so it's probably going to be a little more expensive for him to buy ink because it's not a cheap product. But it's very nice.
Yeah. So she is on Instagram. She's at Ruby Rose on Instagram. She's on Facebook, but I didn't find her on Twitter. So I don't know if she tweets. But yeah, she's blown up over the past few years, and she is an amazing actress, and I cannot wait for the Batwoman series. This is going to make me have to catch up on Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, the whatever other show is on.
But if it's standalone, you may not have to.
They do crossovers, though.
Yeah, I know
they
do.
It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Because it makes you watch the other show.
Okay, something I wanted to say about Ruby Rose. She is the face of Urban Decay Cosmetics.
Ooh.
And I have to say, I bought an eyeliner pencil of theirs for like $30 and I hate it.
I do liquid liner. I love Kat Von D. And I will say never give a woman crap for being late if she has the perfect cat eye.
Too funny.
Oh, so I don't think we'll really go too much more into Ruby Rose, because she's not one of our cast members on any of the reoccurring shows. But I love her body of work, and she's gorgeous. So
I
good
did want to
things for her.
say a couple more things about her. So
Okay.
she identifies as genderqueer. She is pretty out there in terms of her struggles with depression and bipolar disorder. And I actually watched a little clip from 60 Minutes Australia where she talked about being bullied when she was in high school
Oh. For what?
and for being gay
Oh, okay.
and for being strange, kind of not part of the normal cliques.
I thought we were over that. It's 2019.
Yeah, I don't think we are because she's pretty young, and she survived some pretty bad bullying when she was in high school.
She's 33.
Oh,
So,
I was thinking she was younger than that.
no, she was born in 86.
I don't think we're over it still.
Yeah, I would say so she's 6 years younger, or 6 to 7 years younger than me, about 6.5. So yeah, bullying for being gay was still a thing back then.
And it still is today.
Yeah, in a lot, I would say in some high schools. Other high schools celebrate it.
Oh, totally off topic, but still about Ruby Rose. I read that she actually almost drowned while they were filming this movie.
I also read that, but it didn't cite
It didn't
any
elaborate.
Yeah, it didn't have any references or anything like that. So it would not surprise me, because it's a risk anytime you have actors working in the water. The one movie that comes to mind is Now You See Me. The female lead in that movie just about drowned herself in the movie. So
I haven't seen that movie.
it's a pretty good movie. But yeah, so it's a huge liability to have all of these big name actors and actresses, diving underwater or being underwater. So
Unless you're Jason Statham.
Unless you're Jason Statham with webbed toes.
Right. All right, speaking of web toes, it's the National Geographic Corner. So, is the megalodon a real thing?
It was.
Yes, it was. And it translates to megatooth.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. So I read an article on Nat Geo, and they estimated that the megalodons were around 50 feet in length. Mm-hmm. This is a really hilarious factoid from a guy named Peter Klimley, who is a shark expert at UC Davis. The megalodon's penis is about the size of a great white shark.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Right? What can you say? You really can't follow that with a whole heck of a lot. But
right?
I've got more. So the megalodon first appeared about 16 million years ago, and it died out around 2 million years ago. And the estimates from the fossil record are that the bite was actually stronger than that of a T-Rex, and that their bite was actually strong enough to crush a car.
Wow. They weighed as much as 25 tons. They are the largest predator that has ever lived.
That's like 50 horses.
Wow. And sharks are older than dinosaurs.
Sharks didn't know that.
Sharks have been around for about 450 million years.
So sharks were around before the megalodon appeared.
Yes. So there's currently nearly 500 identified species of shark.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So they range from anywhere from the size of goldfish to the size of great white sharks, and at one time the megalodon. And there are freshwater sharks. So just when you thought it was safe to go in the freshwater, yeah, that's a thing.
So I thought this was really interesting. Their skeletons are mostly cartilage. So the only thing that remains of the megalodon in the fossil record was its teeth.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I read that basically the floor of the ocean is just a graveyard of sharks' teeth, because they grow so many. They grow
That's
so
really
many
cool.
over a lifetime, and they lose them all the time. So I thought that was cool. So, God, what was the other thing about sharks? They don't sleep at all, ever.
Oh, it would be so interesting to know what's happening in their brains.
So the way that their gills work is they have to constantly be in motion.
Huh.
And so if they ever stop to sleep, they die. And so they just don't sleep.
Interesting.
You are more likely to get struck by lightning than killed by a shark. Hippos, deer, cows are more deadly than sharks.
Oh, that kind of makes sense. I mean, there are more humans on land than there are in the ocean at any given
Right?
time. So the numbers game is in their favor.
So I absolutely love this one. Hammerhead sharks, the ones with the weird heads,
Mm-hmm.
have 360-degree vision.
Cool.
Isn't that amazing?
That's very cool.
And they're not sure if the female shark can reproduce without a male. But there was a instance of a shark that was in captivity for 2 years, and she was alone in her tank, and she gave birth.
Interesting.
So they can at least store sperm for at least 2 years. And let's see, what was the other thing about the females? Oh, shoot. I can't find it now.
Well, I have a couple more things about Megs.
Okay.
So the movie got the fact that they eat whales right.
Mm-hmm.
So scientists think that they hunted whales by biting off their flippers and their tails.
Huh.
And it's not really known why they became extinct, but one of the theories is that the ocean climate changed. So the climate was generally warmer. The oceans were generally warmer when they were alive, and they were not able to adapt to a cooling climate. Another theory is that they were isolated hunters and they were outcompeted by social hunters like orcas. Killer whales for people who don't live in Alaska.
Shamu.
But I thought learning about megalodons was pretty cool.
Yeah, sharks are super interesting.
And this was more educational than Sharknado.
Yes. Yes.
Which I must confess I never watched.
I have never watched either. But it's a thing.
So the husband has a friend who has like watched every Sharknado movie and anxiously awaits the next one.
You know, I get it. Like it's a, I don't like country music. But people love country music. Like it's not some things are not for everybody.
That is right.
Yeah. Yeah. So they used to live in warm.
Are you still there?
Get the megalodon back.
You have to repeat yourself because you faded out for a second there.
Oh no.
So we lost you at
climate change.
Okay, we lost you at the talking about them being in warmer climates.
So because of climate change, maybe we'll get the megalodon back.
Yeah, I don't know. We're doing a pretty good job killing off the oceans altogether.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just thinking of so we've had a massive gray whale die off in Alaska this year.
That's right.
It's been pretty grim. There have been numerous dead whales beached. It's been really sad.
We've had a couple of really bad seasons for like commercial crabbing and fishing and things like that, to the point that because in Alaska we regulate our fishing so that we don't overfish, so that we will hopefully have fish forever.
Oh, that's like a very generous interpretation of what the state law does, but go ahead.
Well, because did you know that Hawaii has no fishing game? Like there's no licenses. You can fish anything, anywhere, anytime.
No, I did not know that.
So we are heavily regulated about our fishing, and there have been a few years now where they haven't even opened seasons up. Just no crabbing, no commercial crabbing.
And certain salmon areas as well, because the returns have been so bad.
Right. We're having a tough year here right now because all of our streams and riverbeds have been dry because we've had such a long, hot stretch. And even when we do get rain, it's just for brief periods of time. And so even if the salmon could get upstream to lay their eggs, in a day or two, the stream dries out.
That's pretty depressing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boy, Nat Geo Corner has taken a dark turn.
It's so disappointing because salmon is delicious.
It is.
But fish are food, not friends.
One of the dogs agrees with you.
Yes, they get fish a lot.
I gotta say, when we were in sled dogs pretty heavily, I got really good at filleting salmon. Really good. Because we processed a lot of salmon for the dogs that we worked with.
Why would you fillet them? Don't you just put them all in the dog food cooker?
Because we tried not... First of all, we cooked them. A lot of mushers will actually feed raw, which I think is a bad practice. And we cooked the fillets and we cooked the eggs, but we did not cook the bones.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So... Speaking of bones, the megalodon bones that you were saying that is basically cartilage, that made me think of birds.
Oh, interesting.
So it's just kind of amazing how things kind of evolved, that, you know, we were all once in the primordial ooze of the ocean, and then we grew feet and walked out. And
oh, man, you lefty. Now you're talking about evolution.
Evolution. Well, did you know that the two gliders were named for Darwin's Origin of Species?
The two gliders. You mean the submersibles?
Yes. They called them gliders in the movie.
Ah.
Yeah. So, there was a Darwin reference in the movie.
Very cool.
So, it was on topic.
All right. So, anything else for Nat Geo Corner?
No, but this actually is inspiring me to start actually watching Shark Week.
Oh, well, you have at that. Maybe I'll read Loch Ness and we'll meet in the middle.
Sharks are interesting.
The Loch, not Loch Ness. Sorry.
Nessie.
All right. So, Whisperer's Corner. I've got a few things.
Yes.
First off, Fear the Walking Dead is in a little bit of trouble. So
I could see this.
There is the possibility that Travis County, Texas, which is where Austin is located, is going to ask Fear the Walking Dead for $74,000 to cover repairs to a street called Breaker Lane that they really trashed while they were filming.
Oh, no.
They apparently left big ruts in the sidewalks, lots of debris that needed to be cleaned up, and they tried to clean off the road and actually ended up destroying the asphalt sealant.
Huh.
So, news this week is that Travis County is probably going to go after them for the repairs.
Don't they have insurance for that sort of thing?
You would think.
You would think. Yeah, I think somebody in AMC needs to look into that.
Right? Steven that out. All right, did you watch the trailer for the new series?
I have not yet.
Oh, it's really good.
Yes, it has been sent to me, and people have asked me if I have watched it. I have not watched it.
So it just has the kids kind of voicing over kind of the beginning of their story. And it looks really good.
Interesting. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. I mean, if the trailer is any peek at the quality, it looks like it's going to be good.
I'm a total hypocrite. I'm always griping about the kids on the show, but then I'm like, I want an entire show with nothing but kids. But it's going to be like Lord of the Flies, so it's fine.
They did say that it was going to have a Lord of the Flies feel. Yes.
That's awesome.
So it is rumored that the new series is going to open with a plane crash.
I did hear that.
There have been pieces of a 737 fuselage being brought in to film the opening, and it's being filmed in Hopewell, Virginia during the first 2 weeks of August.
Yeah, so I heard that these kids were basically isolated from like all of the fallout from the apocalypse and sheltered.
And what they're actually saying is, yeah, that they had a pretty good sheltered life that they decided to leave.
And then, well, like something happened, so that I'm. When does the plane crash? Like years into the zombie apocalypse? Where'd this plane come from? How, like?
Maybe Alice flying.
Yeah, maybe.
All right.
I knew those propellers were bad.
Right? Propellers do not transfer from one style of plane to another.
No, I don't think they do.
So did you watch the Zombieland 2 trailer?
No.
Oh, God. It also
looks
really good.
I loved the first one.
I did too. And I don't have anything particularly smart to say about Zombieland 2, which is called Double Tap, except the trailer makes it look fantastic.
Does he still do the rules?
Yes.
Rule number 1, cardio.
And there is a new character who gets the rules, who he tells the rules to.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah. She's kind of a cross between Harley Quinn and the main character from Legally Blonde.
Elle Woods.
There you go. She's a cross between Elle Woods and Harley Quinn.
I will take early 2000s movie trivia for $200. Seriously, people will call me and they'll be like, "There's a thing on the radio. Who played the thing in that one movie that one time?" And I'm like, Girl Interrupted." And I used to win stuff on the radio all the time when I listened to the radio.
That is really funny.
Yeah, I can't memorize the periodic table of elements, but I can tell you all kinds of stupid movie trivia.
I have a fair amount of trivia locked away in my brain, too. Now it's an unfortunate amount of Walking Dead trivia, but...
It makes us fun at parties.
There you go.
Right?
All right. Speaking of The Walking Dead proper, so there is apparently some pretty big heartburn that the Rick movies are being released in theaters rather than being released on AMC. Apparently, there are a lot of fans out there accusing AMC of pulling a bait and switch.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. On the one hand, I totally get the bait and switch thing, but on the other hand, it's going to be cool to see it in theaters.
I'm going to pay to see it in the theater.
Yeah.
I've paid for worse movies.
Well, and maybe I will, meet new people and make a new adult friend. So, because it's statistically impossible at our age to make new friends.
Really?
No. I'm just saying at our age, we're kind of stuck in our little circle. And maybe if I went to a Walking Dead movie, I would find it's like going to My Favorite Murder Show.
There you go.
Like you meet up with all these murderinos and it just, the conversation flows. It's amazing.
All right. Couple more things in Whisperer's Corner. A couple of things from Forbes. So Paul Tassi, one of the reviewers that we've been following, the headline of his article this week is Fear the Walking Dead is indeed renewed for season 6 with the same showrunners. And then he says, much to the dismay of many fans, myself included. So, I have to say, at this point, I'm agreeing with him. I'm not super excited about Andrew Chambliss and Ian Goldberg continuing, but we'll see what they have to deliver in the next half of season 5.
See, I think his article about not understanding how nurses was just kind of a one-off.
No, that was Eric Kane.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forbes also has an article up where they have pictures of Thora Birch as Gamma.
Oh.
So if you're interested in seeing the new character, it's worth seeking those out.
Isn't she just in her mask, though?
No, they actually have her with and without the mask.
Okay.
And then my last thing in Whisperer's Corner is about the whiskey.
Mm-hmm. I just saw that.
So there is a new whiskey out called Spirits of the Apocalypse. It's a Kentucky bourbon, and it is available for pre-order if you go to thewalkingdeadbourbon.com. It's $37 for a 750 milliliter bottle, and it ships in October.
And it's kind of one of those big square bottles, so I don't think it's going to fit in the foam roller.
I have the most amazing recipe for Kentucky bourbon pie.
Wow.
Yes.
That sounds interesting.
It's walnuts, chocolate chips, and Kentucky bourbon. It's amazing.
Well, we keep pretty good whiskey on hand to make our coq au vin.
Ah.
Yeah, that's a delicious French comfort food that is nice in the wintertime.
For $37 a bottle, I'd make a Kentucky... Let me try that again. For $37 a bottle, I would make a Kentucky bourbon pie.
Definitely. I don't know if I would put it in my coq au vin. It's kind of like the rum we brought back from the Caribbean. The first thing I did with it was I poached pears in the rum.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It was so delicious, and served it over ice cream. Oh, yeah. We covet that rum. Not much of a whiskey person.
If it's not really peaty, I'm okay with it. But if it's a really heavily peat influenced whiskey, I don't like it.
I'm that whiskey girl who can't drink brown liquor.
Ah.
Yeah.
I will do a shot of Jameson's every now and then.
Vodka is my drug of choice.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. That's the Eastern European in us.
All right. On to the goods, bads, and uglies about the Meg.
So what was your good?
My good was the little kid. So she is an actress named Shuya Sophia Kai, C-A-I. She is 11 years old, and she was born to a Chinese mother and a British father, and she lives in New Zealand.
So I will tell you now that she is my ugly, and it's a good ugly.
Oh, okay, good, because she
Yeah.
is adorable.
I loved her.
I thought she carried her part just as well as some very accomplished adult actors.
8-year-olds hear everything.
And she's only got 2 credits.
Wow.
The other movie that she was in is a movie called Somewhere Only We Know, and it was a Chinese movie that was made in 2015. So I'm looking forward to seeing her more. Apparently she's done some modeling, she's done some TV commercials. So I think with her chops, she is going to be someone that we see again.
Yeah. I loved this character for her,
too.
Like, she was so sassy. I loved that she called him crazy. Hey, crazy!
Yeah. Yeah, she was just a super cute character. I really enjoyed her throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
So, not cold and dead inside.
No.
This week, anyway.
So this kind of makes me think, like, in 10 years when they reboot the Megalodon franchise, because you know that's going to happen, like, maybe they'll bring her back.
As her mom?
Well, no, as herself. And she, she remembers all this stuff that happened when she was a kid about the Megalodon.
Ah, very good.
Right? I should pitch that.
Well, you probably have to read the other books that are out there to see if it's already happened or not.
That's a good point.
So what was your good?
My good was the special effects. So I expected Sharknado. I expected cheesy, terrible CGI. Yeah, I went into this thinking it was just, it was going to be a made-for-TV sci-fi movie and that they will have totally crapped out on the effects. Come to find out, they spent a lot of time on building the CGI structure. I mean, they literally built the shark from the inside out, and they, bone structure and everything. And they observed how thoroughbred horses move when they race to get the rippling of the muscly skin.
Oh, cool.
So they took a great white shark and just made it bigger, because in the books, I guess the sharks are completely white and kind of luminescent because they live in the bottom of the ocean where there is no sun. And when they tried to do that on the screen, they said the effect looked cheesy. So they kind of modeled it after the great white shark, and they made it a little more rugged, and they kind of changed the body a little, because apparently when you make the great white shark bigger, it has weirdly proportioned fins and tails. They also changed the mouth and the eyes slightly. I guess in the book, the shark is blind. It only hunts. It's
okay.
light sensitive. It's light sensitive, of course, because it's lived in the bottom of the ocean.
Sure.
And so it only hunts at night. And spoiler alert for the books. It's that they kind of did this in the movie where they gouged out the eyes. It starts to hunt in the daytime when its eyes gets gouged out in the book. But so this is what I was saying earlier when I said we'd loop back to this movie. Kind of this screenplay got shelved for a really long time. It rolled through a lot of different hands, a lot of different studios, and I'm actually really glad they did not try to do this in 1997, because it would have been terrible. Could you imagine the effects? It would have been Sharknado.
Good point. And you rightly pointed out to me that its effects were way better than Aquaman.
I know,
right? Which is
really
depressing, because I really wanted Aquaman to be really good. But you are absolutely right. The effects in this movie were far, far, far better than a much bigger movie.
Yeah, so if you go into the trivia section of IMDb, they listed, they just go over everything that was done for the effects and how much they studied and built, and they definitely got their money's worth if it was about $150 million to make this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were some practical effects too that they did. So of course we all remember the animatronic Jaws shark. Well, they built a giant megalodon head for Jason Statham to interact with underwater. So that was a practical effect that they did. But yeah, I was expecting terrible, and I was blown away by the effects.
They were very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Better than Aquaman.
Yes.
How did that happen?
I don't know, but don't rub it in.
It's still got Jason Momoa. So, what was your bad?
Well, so my bad was, in spite of the fact that I thought this was pretty good, and it's not typically the kind of movie that I watch,
mm-hmm.
It was pretty full of the standard horror movie tropes.
Oh my god, we had the same bad!
Do we?
It's a little predictable.
Yeah, so the cocky billionaire.
Who dies horribly, spoiler alert.
Right. The crazy hero who gets derailed by his own failed mission.
And kind of gets the girl in the end. I mean, it's not like they ended on a kiss or anything, but...
And even though she was my good, the plucky kid.
Mm-hmm. And, okay, this is a huge one. Even though we're not doing zombies, this shark came back to life like 3 times.
Right. Or sort of, kind of, there was a new shark, really.
Right?
Yeah.
Every time we thought the monster was dead, it
was worse.
Oh no, and we have another shark out there. And okay, we killed that one. Oops, it's a whale. Like the shark just kept coming back like Jason in Friday the 13th.
So another trope, Mac, the guy that Cliff Curtis played, he's the buddy who ropes Jonas back in.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the ex-wife, the reason that Jonas gets roped back in.
And you have the guy who sacrifices himself in the beginning. And of course, he's kind of the nerdy guy, all of the characters that we lost were not important to the storyline because we had to have all of the people who could why don't we play whale sounds? All the people with the good ideas. So we lost a lot of tertiary characters, nothing big.
Although I did like the big lumpy guy with the long hair. I thought he was really funny.
Oh, I loved him.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the same guy from Titanic?
I don't know.
I swear to God, I'm going to have to look that up now.
We also had the trope of the proud dad who could only reveal his pride in his daughter on his deathbed.
Oh, I missed that one. We also had that the authorities don't believe us. Yeah, the military thought it was a prank call, and it's that's always happens. Like, you call the police, and it's like, no, you're just making a prank call.
And this is terrible, and it's kind of racist, but we had the trope of the black guy who couldn't swim.
Oh, and they even pointed it out, though.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
So is it really racist if you're pointing a finger at yourself?
I don't know.
That's a toughie.
Yeah, I think ask Pryor when they did Blazing Saddles.
So that was really kind of my stuff we saw kind of the stories over and over again that we've seen in all of these monster movies.
Right. I had the exact same bad. And, I love, and I wouldn't even call this a horror movie, even though it was kind of a monster movie. I would call it maybe an action thriller movie, but this is right up my alley, even though
this definitely is your kind of movie.
Yeah. Even though I know tons of movie trivia about, Clueless and Legally Blonde and stuff like that. I have never seen a lot of the modern chick flicks like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days or 27 Dresses. I don't watch those movies. I like horror movies.
So do the dogs.
Speaking of monsters.
Right.
Okay, so the guy that played the Wall, I didn't realize his character was named the Wall.
Oh, and he's got a really complicated, Scandinavian name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm not even going to try to pronounce. I remember that now.
He's not the guy from Titanic. Okay. So what was your ugly?
Well, my ugly was actually a good ugly. And I have to say, honestly, it was seeing Cliff Curtis again.
Oh, yeah.
So while it was not a standout performance, I mean, they really left that kind of grandstanding to Jason Statham and Rainn Wilson. I thought his portrayal of his character was really solid and believable, and I really liked him.
Yeah, and he got a decent amount of lines and screen time. And, I liked that too.
I have to tell you what it really brought up for me, though, was he is such an honest actor and he puts so much heart into his performances that he did not deserve the death that he got in Fear the Walking Dead.
No, he's one character that I would be okay with if he was still around.
Right. I mean, they gave us that great buildup of him killing the two boys who were responsible for Chris's death. And then they fill him full of holes and shove him out of a helicopter. I mean, what a waste of a great character and a great arc.
And if I remember right, Madison mourned him for one episode.
Right. If that.
Right.
It was nice to see you, Travis. Now I'm going to fend off Troy's creepy advances.
So his character didn't die in the movies, but it doesn't, so far, it does not look like he is part of the second Meg movie.
Are they showing the cast?
No, not yet.
Well then I wouldn't write it off just yet.
No, no, definitely not.
Well, what was your good?
You mean my ugly?
Or your ugly?
Yeah, so my ugly was the little girl, and it was a good ugly.
Yeah.
She was just, I love it. Even the billionaire is like, your granddaughter is a pistol. Oh, she had some of the best lines in the movie.
She did.
Yeah. So.
And I loved her little glowing shoes. Those were super cute.
Oh, yeah. The scene, like, and it's the cheesy scene of like the looming shark, but it was very well done with her
when she's in kind of that
the bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the Prince of the Teeth.
Yes.
That was really cool.
Yeah. And she was so brave. I loved that they portrayed not only a brave woman, but this brave little girl that wasn't just like, mommy.
Right.
Yeah. So she was great. I would be, as much as I am not a child person, she's sassy. I like her. She can be more stuff.
I agree wholeheartedly.
She'll be in the Meg reboots in 10 years.
Well, I don't have tons of rotting potpourri, but I have a little.
Okay.
Enough to fill up a trash dumpster at least. So I was curious to know if anyone had ever actually made it to the bottom of the Marianas Trench. And in 2012, James Cameron, who directed Titanic, actually took a submersible on a 7-mile dive into the Marianas Trench.
I feel like they did this, like they filmed it and put it on like this Discovery Channel or something.
I think they did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah, I kind of remember that happening.
Talk about someone who's using his mad movie money for cool stuff.
Yeah.
I will say about this movie, I was surprised that they expanded it as the story as much as they did. When I first started watching it, I really thought it was just going to be the story of Jonas Taylor rescuing the crew from the submersible.
Oh.
I thought they were going to spend the whole 2 hours of the movie just doing that.
Huh. I was like, it was one of those, it's like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. When I went into the theater and I've never read the books, I sat down and all of a sudden you see dolphins singing and I'm like, I think I'm in the wrong movie. I mean, if I had not had the DVD with the Meg on it, I would have been like, this is the wrong Jason Statham movie.
Oh, that's so funny. I did want to say that I recognized Winston Chow, the guy who plays the dad.
Yes, you did.
So one of my favorite movies back in, I'm going to say the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, Eat, Drink, Man, Woman. It is such a good movie.
I don't remember that one.
It's a foreign language film, so you have to be okay with subtitles, but it was really hands down one of the best movies I saw during that time period.
Huh.
And he was also in The Wedding Banquet, which was a great movie too.
Interesting. I feel like I've seen him somewhere before, but I can't find. Oh, there we go. I was spelling his name wrong. It's Chao.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know him from anything. I feel like I've seen him somewhere before, though.
Well, take a little bit of time off of watching TV and watch Eat, Drink, Man, Woman. Because it's really good.
Is it a chick flick?
It's kind of a chick flick, but not so much so that you would be like, ugh. It's a lot about cooking. And really amazing cooking.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Did you see that they're kind of replacing Anthony Bourdain with Gordon Ramsay?
No.
I don't think that's going to work. Nobody
I think that's
likes
really
Gordon.
unfortunate.
Yeah. I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, they should just let his legacy stand.
Yep. Sorry, I just had to add that because of the whole cooking thing.
Well, that's really all I have. I didn't have a whole lot for Rotting Potpourri.
the little girl didn't get all of the best lines. I love it when Jason Statham opens up the hatch and his ex-wife Liz looking up at him and he's like, "Tell me this isn't the world's best. I told you so." And then it wasn't the tagline for the movie, but it totally should have been, "Man versus Meg isn't a fight. It's a slaughter." And we do what people always do. We discover and then we destroy.
Yes. I remember that line. That was Winston Chow.
Mm-hmm. It was. And one of my favorite scenes, it didn't make my good because the effects were just so good. And it didn't make my ugly because I love that little girl. But I love the part where the guy is taking the picture of the wall with the dead shark, and they totally fake him out. And I could, because that's a realistic thing. That's what you do to people. You know, you fake out your friends and they fall in the water and you laugh at them. And this is probably why I haven't made friends at my age.
I was going to say, and then the next larger megalodon comes and really makes you have a bad day.
Yeah, I don't think I have that much. It's Shark Week. Go and watch something about sharks.
I did.
They're awesome.
I had a little bit of stuff from our page.
Oh, that's right.
So Diane LaSorsa said about the last episode of Fear, "Hey ladies, have to tell you after the ridiculous beer hot air balloon I gave up on this show, but miss listening to you guys, so I caught up on the show. Thank you for your unique, funny, and amazing outlook on this show. You definitely helped make this show better. Keep up the good work even though the material sucks. By the way, Dr. Death podcast is really crazy."
That is like the best review.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
like,
definitely.
We don't do this for the money.
Right?
So it's nice to get a little good feedback every now and then.
And then Pedro Pelez wanted you to know, I was right. It was 3 weeks.
It's 3 weeks. Yeah. This is what happens to me when I'm living by reappropriation deadlines. Is I'm like either a month ahead or I'm living a month behind because we're doing our reimbursable service agreements and they're a month behind. Like, yeah, it's like tax season. It's bananas.
No, thank you. Every day is bananas in my life, so I just couldn't. No.
Right.
All right, Shenandoah Grand Poobah Gore said the opening song of The Meg was a big surprise and had me singing along in English and couldn't stop giggling over it. Do you remember what it was?
I don't.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Mickey.
But it was in like Chinese or Korean or something, right?
I think it must have been in Mandarin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
And then Brian said, I was hoping it was the Family Guy movie, but unfortunately it was a shark. And then I watched those, the Family Guy Meg trailer. It was hilarious. I will definitely have to post it to our page.
Oh, that's funny.
But that's about all I've got.
Yeah, so they ended the movie on fin, like finished, French for finished, the end. So, yeah.
Didn't you kind of feel like they were implying that there was another megalodon out there?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. I mean, that's the feeling that I came away with.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right, so
having said that...
go and watch Shark Week.
You are welcome for that earworm that will never leave you for the rest of your life.
Okay, when I am awake at 3 o'clock tomorrow morning, fretting about everything and that's going through my head, I'm calling you.
Baby shark.
And I'm going to post your number on the buyer's page.
Oh, God. It goes on forever. forever. Like I seriously only made it like a third of the way through it. And yes, it does stick with you forever.
Great.
So, Finn.
All right. So next week we're finally going to talk about Good Omens, right?
I think so.
All right. Very good. And I think we're going to try to just talk about the entire arc of the series in one episode.
Yep. So
I will probably only watch the first one again.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I liked it better than you, but I haven't read the book, and the book is always better than the movie.
I mean, I've read the book probably 10 times.
I started the book.
You need to read more.
I do.
Even the other Real Housewife has read American Predator. Where are you?
Oh. Hey, I read Alone in the Dark.
I'll Be Gone in the Dark.
Are We Gone in the Dark?
Yes, that was so good.
Yes.
I put that on her list.
Yeah. I devoured that book.
Yeah,
that's about the
really
Golden
good.
State serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So next week we podcast Good Omens, and then I think we're back to Fear the Walking Dead.
Yes, I think well, are we? I think we must be.
I feel like we actually have one more week, but that could just be me. We'll have to check it out, and maybe we'll have to make Good Omens a double episode.
I think it's just you living on State of Alaska time, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah. We can't even pass a budget.
Right. Oh my God, don't even get me started.
All right, everybody. Until next week, just remember, take it one dead day at a time. All right, everybody. Have a good week. Bye. Shark Week.